No matter how hard it is, the first step is the hardest one. But once you take the first step, the rest will follow.
Everyone, welcome back. This is another session for real estate investment webinar, and we have an exciting day today with one of our guests that joining us soon. My name is Ashton Ekbatani. I'm a real estate investor for many years. I'm the founder of GTA Real Estate Investment Club and author of a few books and the host of Wednesday Real Estate Investors webinar. As usual, I'm going to go through the logistic, I would say. The goal of this webinar is for all of us to learn, to get inspired, to build our expertise, to help others as well once we learn, and then repeat the very same thing. Hopefully one day you're going to be the founder of another club in another city, which is great. So once again, we're here not to speculate things, news, and go and have a strong foundation in learning and investing and making money with what we learn. You can always enjoy the YouTube channel I have. There are plenty of resources and information there. Many of the webinars I've done in the past, there are ocean of information given by all the investors that we had this webinars with in the past. So basically anything you want to learn is all there. You can always get one of my book here, Successful Real Estate Investors. There are a lot of strategies and techniques that I use and I put in this book. You can get it from amazon.ca or .com. As usual, I'm going to start briefly for a few minutes what's happening with the crazy market that we have in Ontario. This I pulled it out from Toronto Real Estate Board. As you see, the orange line represents 2021. See how crazy the market is right now. It's on fire. Now look at last year, 2020. We thought the market is going nuts and crazy, but look at this year. This is the transaction. Now this is the new listing coming up in the market. We all know by March, the market is going to be more listing. Actually, by February, we had 9,000 homes in GTA. Now the inventory is very close to 11,500, let's say 12,000 homes available in GTA right now, which slowly diluting the market. So the strong storm of sellers market slowly changing. Still is a crazy sellers market, but it's not as crazy as a month ago, but still it's very solid market. Now this is the price that is going to continue going up. As you see, February, March, the price compared to last year is much higher. And I feel bad for those people sitting for the last 10 years saying the market would crash. And they always ask, if the house is $500,000, you think the market crash, the house becomes 100,000? And to that, they pause and they don't say nothing. Here is the average selling price this March compared to March last year, 2020 compared to 2021. The price of properties of single homes went up 21.6% in GTA. Now, of course, the number of days in the market is much less. Anything comes, it's gone. I just sold a house 2 days ago. It didn't even hit the market. I said coming up soon. I got so many offers. I sold it before it even hits MLS. Now, this is a condominium sales statistic that I pull out today as well. The market is strong. There are still condos buying and selling. In some cases, if you come a little bit off GTA, you're going to get multiple offers again. And the average price, it did not grow that much, but it will within few months, it's going to show itself. Remember, the price of properties, single homes are so expensive. So many people cannot afford that high price. They come back to condos, and the condos price going to slowly catch up with its growth. Now, news from today, CT24, Toronto home sales increased by 97% in March. That's news from Toronto Real Estate Board. And we see all the information to support this news. Now, today's, I call it bear strategy, is very well known strategy that we use in real estate investment, and the single homes buyer strategy. I think our guest is going to use and bring up that strategy and going to explain to us how he does it. So without further ado, I have Aditya Soma here. He's a real estate investor. If I'm not mistaken, he's from Windsor, and I think he's blasting Windsor with all the sales that he does. And Aditya, are you available? Are you on the phone here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, it is an honor to have you here. So I'm going to
Thank you.
share the screen. I don't think you want to share the screen, like you don't have any presentation. So it's coming through asking questions and answering now. If that's the case, let me see if I can get you. Just bear with me. So I have you as full screen, I think. Perfect. So why don't you tell us how I read a little bit about you. I was watching some of your YouTube clip, and I want you to tell us your story. And the reason I'm asking this is, remember, one of the goals of this webinar here is to encourage others. Some of us never started anything, always sitting on the fence, watching, hesitating, having a lot of fear, what's going to happen if I get into the market. So I want you to share, starting from zero, from where you came into this country to what's happened there, all the decision. Tell us where you started. Tell us your story.
Sure. So first of all, I started with almost a minus 100,000 debt. Literally 2 years ago, I had minus 100,000. So now definitely way over 1.5 million asset value. So that happened with like zero knowledge, zero experience that I started with, because pretty much I came to Canada in 2012 as a student. My dad, I'm originally from India, born and raised in a small village for a farmer's family. My dad like worked his ass off for all years, but struggled so hard to even just, borrowed money to send me to Canada. So from the childhood, I have seen like so many disastrous situations because of the financial situation, financial issues, that family was never together just because of the financial challenges. So always the finances was my biggest challenge. So fast forward, came as a student, completed studies, got into a job in my related field, which is IT. I was working as a software developer. So I came with big dreams, right? Like left the country, left the family, relatives, and everyone. Came here just because of to have a good financial stability that I can provide, good life for my family. But like after started working, I realized like it's taking forever. Like it took me like 2 years just to pay off my debts, by being like very, very, very frugal, like literally saving like 80-90% of the income. And like, I want to travel back home often. I want to bring my parents often, and all those things like cost a lot of money. So I was like, slowly, the more I was into this job life, I realized like it takes forever. Because the rent is the 1/4 expense, car another 1/4. So after groceries, probably I was left with like 1/4 of the income. That's like being frugal. So that's when like I started to look for secondary source of incomes that can help me fund my lifestyle. That I can help my parents to travel, or help them to come here, or help myself to go back home often. So those things were not happening just because of that situation. So I did like Uber extra hours while working full time, evenings, weekends. I tried like Amazon e-commerce, like online selling. I tried other different things, even like network marketing and all those things. So at the end, like I read this book. That is where like my life turned, like Rich Dad Poor Dad. I hope most of you who is watching might have read. If you haven't, I strongly recommend go read that book, because that's something have changed my life. Because I was like, when I was reading that book, it's like literally why some people suffer with the financial situations, why some people like have a financial freedom, do what they love to do. So, the biggest lesson I learned from that is like, you got to build assets, you got to minimize the debts, and the difference between assets and liabilities. That's like a huge eye opener for me, because he talks about like why a rental property is an asset. A first time, just a home that you're living is not an asset. A car is a liability. A home that you're living is a liability, and different things he explains, like a rental property that someone is paying you every month to hold that property. So that's when like started to think, oh, that totally makes sense, because I'm paying like $1,000. If I buy a property that where I can live in and someone can pay at least my mortgage, that's great. So then like I started to search, like this is like literally in end of 2016. I just searched online like how to invest in Canada real estate after reading that book. And then I found other books, couple of books on real estate investing by Rain Network, and also like a guy from US, Brandon Turner. He wrote a book about investing in rental properties. And there is a like website I found, like Bigger Pockets. So finding all those things at the end, like we gotta take action. And I was like scared to death because I have no family here, and I was like already like no money left, and I have my sister wedding and my wedding was planned, which needed at least 100,000, and I don't have that money. And here I am, I want to buy this real estate. So I was like, literally, I don't know what to do, but I want to figure out. So then I started to dig more, and I found a network group here in Windsor, which got me to a little bit of confidence. Became friends with, just like this network group, we have a Win City Real Estate Investor Club here in Windsor. So that was like my good friend who started, literally I was the first member. So started learning, and then finally got my first property on March 1st, 2017. So that's when I got, like literally just 3 years ago. House hacking, I don't know if you guys ever heard about house hacking. You buy a 2-unit or 3-unit or 4-unit building, you move into one unit, you rent out the other unit. So literally like you're hacking your rents, just living kind of for free. So that's what I started with. And then thereon, like literally, real estate is an addiction. Once you got to it, you want more. It's like just nicotine. So started to, learn more and started to buy more. Now I have like 36 doors, closing another 2 doors next week. So pretty much it's growing from there. And I also like quit my job 2 years ago, became a realtor full time, doing real estate pretty much for active income, investing for passive income.
Excellent. Sounds good. Now, Aditya, did you have any mindset resistance, like you coming from possibly different background? Have you ever thought, oh, this is not the right thing I'm doing, or my parents say don't touch it? Have you had that fight with yourself?
Of course, like, thousands of fights with myself, because, to start with, like after I realized like I want to get into real estate, it took me 6 months to get my first property, because the biggest challenge was fear of unknown. I don't know anyone. I don't know whom to trust. I don't know if someone is telling me the truth or not. And I don't have any family to support here. I don't know anything about real estate. So many roadblocks. But again, I was like, okay, what's the worst could happen, right? Like, what's the worst situation that could happen if I go take this step? So it took me like hours and hours of learning, reading books. Just like I see you have like ton of books there, and I literally like read a book a day, pretty much like on my table every day. It's not easy, right? Like, coming from a family background where no financial education was given from family, or no one knows anything, so obviously no idea what to do. That definitely a shitload of fear. To overcome it, it need so much of exercise every day.
Absolutely. I'm not surprised when you mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad. This is where I started. It's the same thing. Like, it was an awakening call. He wrote another book called Who Took My Money. It's amazing. If you read it, it's talking about the stock market, talking about property. And in one word, he said, come on, you can buy something that is tangible. Why you trust your money into unknown people who are in New York City is taking the subway and they playing with your money? Why you do that? And that was another awakening call. And I learned a lot from that book. And that was one of the pushing point for me to awake and start doing something. I like what you said. You started from your dreaming, and then you investigate, you study about it. How long did it take for you to start saying, okay, let's take a look at real estate? Then you start studying, investigating about it, and then you took action. How did it take? A year, 2 years?
I mean, so to be honest, like from my like bachelor degree, which is like way 2018, 2008, 9, I wanted to do something. I was always like trying different things. But specifically real estate, like before I got my first property, 6 months before that, which is like in 2016, September-ish, that's when I found this Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and took me 6 months to get to my first property.
Okay, excellent. And how did you find your very first property? I mean, how did you qualify the first property?
Good question, actually. So I was not even a permanent resident at that time.
You had
So
goals.
didn't even had PR, which means I don't know if I'm going to stay back in the country or, they're going to kick me out. Good thing is I had job. So the advantage of having a job in this country is immense, because banks will treat you, they'll respect you. You have a good credit. If you have a good credit score and you have a good income source, that income that you're getting every month, you can get a property for 95%, for 5% down. That was like, wow, really? Because I'm coming from back home, India, where back home loan is not a common thing. Generally, people buy house or, land with cash. So here, when I heard that, oh, you can get like literally someone else will give me literally 95% of the mortgage, 95% of the price, that was like, awesome, let me look into it. Then I talked to a couple of lenders. So first, a lot of people told me that no, you cannot get mortgage because you need a peer. And then like I talked to different people. Finally, I believe First National, they are the ones said, oh, you have 2 years of work history, you have good credit score, you know what, we'll take a chance on you, we'll give you 5% down.
Excellent. And you said 36 doors. They're all in Windsor, or you?
Yeah, they're all in Windsor, except to one pre-construction in Toronto.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So anything that caused you to stay in Windsor and not coming out of it, like going to London, coming to Hamilton, anywhere else? Any reason?
I mean, again, so I think it's a destiny. I'm in Windsor. I came to Windsor like without any plan. I was desperately looking for a job, and I got a job here like 6 years ago. So I am already in Windsor. And when I was learning about this investing strategies, the biggest thing that everyone says is cash flow is king. You need to have like any property that you buy, doesn't matter how much cash flow, at least you're not paying any money from your pocket, which means it's an asset. Like, the first concept that I learned from Rich Dad Poor Dad, asset. Asset is something that puts money in your pocket. So even if it's $100, it's putting money in your pocket. So Windsor was perfect. Like even still the date, I still can find a cash flowing property. Or if it's not cash flowing, I can add creative ways, to maybe adding a basement unit in the single family, or maybe like, updating the units, getting the market rents. So different ways I can get cash flow. So when there was an opportunity for making cash flow right here in the city where I am, I never looked outside.
Great, excellent. Now tell us what's happened between the first property and the second one. Did something more click? Oh, wow, I'm making positive cash flow. Let's go for a second option. What's happened there?
Yeah. So again, I started with a intention of investing more. So when I bought this first property, there were so many challenges. Like it is the ugly shit piece of shit. So it was like so much work needed, and I hired a contractor, and so many challenges to make the contractor complete the work. And even the work, I didn't know if it's a good job or bad job. So many issues still left in the property. So literally but even then, after finishing the renovations, I rented the place, and like I have one 3-bedroom unit and one bedroom unit. I'm married, I have a wife, no kids yet. So I said, you know what, we'll move into 1 bedroom. We rent out the 3-bedroom. So at that point in time, it was like 100 years old property for 100,000. I spent another 45,000. It was like, nice 3-bedroom and 1-bedroom unit. So 3-bedroom was rented for 1250, and 1-bedroom I was living in it. So 1250 was paying my mortgage, my property tax, insurance, and my utilities.
Oh.
I was literally living for free. I'm like, this is insane. But I didn't have money. I had to wait for another 6 months to save some more money because, like I told you earlier, like literally I started with nothing. And like 1 year after my sister's wedding was planned, back home, the tradition, I gotta help my family with that, marriage and all. So like I didn't have any money. So now I'm like, I want to buy. I don't know how long this opportunity will be there. And literally started to save every penny again and again. And then 6 months after, I just had like literally enough money to even like I borrowed some money from friends. I put it in my account for 3 months, which I didn't tell the bank, but I got to do whatever it takes to. So I had enough money to buy another duplex for 160,000.
Good. And how do you manage the mortgage from that point on? Like many investors I know, they run out of their own money after first or second or third properties, and they have to be more creative in terms of finding money and do mortgage, etc. How did you manage that?
I mean, so the first of all, if the properties are cash flowing, generally you have different routes. So the first thing, all my properties so far, like at least majority of them, all of them are cash flowing. So the major lenders, the RBC, I was using RBC and CABC, they haven't gave me any issues because my income was good enough and all the properties are surviving by themselves. And then like I got to a point where I have investors that are interested to invest with me, and I was bringing on partners who does qualify for mortgage. And then recently, out of that 36 doors, 17 doors is one specific building. So it's a commercial kind of residential building, but you will get a commercial loan where they don't just look at your profile, they just look at your credit history, they look at your building income. Okay. So once, like as of now, I'm still able to get mortgages because there are different routes. Some lenders will lend you up to 6 properties, and some lenders will lend you up to 6 properties just with them. So if you have 6 properties with other lender, they don't care. They still lend you another 6 properties.
Excellent. What you said, your story remind me this this sentence. They said, talking about age, like when you started things, they said whether you pay at the beginning of your life or you pay at the end.
Yeah.
So you went through the hustle and do many things. You went through in bracket suffering and limitations and frustrations at the beginning to build up for your future. Some people, unfortunately, life lesson, whatever, they pay at the end. That's excellent news. Now,
I have a quote always like to remind myself on my system. It says, "Play now, play later."
Exactly. Now, tell us about what is Bear strategy and to what extent are you using it?
That's my favorite strategy that I use pretty much like, except the 2 properties, rest every project that I purchased is using Bear strategy. That's another thing why I'm not still out with money, because most of the projects that I take on, what I do, the Bear strategy, which is like buy the property, renovate the property, refinance the property, rent it out, and then refinance. So what it means in simple words, so you want to take your initial investment from the property as soon as possible so you can go buy more. So in order to do that, you got to buy the property that needs some cosmetic lift, that is the under market value comparative to the if the property, for example, if you're buying a beautifully nicely renovated property in let's say South Windsor, in Windsor, if it's like 600,000, you find this property that is need a bunch of, need a new kitchen, need a new washroom, all the flooring is dated, very ugly. If you find that property for 450, 500, you know that if you put another 30 or 40,000 into it, the after repair value, the property will be like 600. So now, after you fix that, go talk to the bank and say, hey, I just did all the renovations, and based on the current market value, here's what I think my property valued at based on the current condition. So now they reappraise, and they'll give you new mortgage based on the new value.
Okay. Have you ever done flipping?
So my first property that I mentioned, I mean, technically I haven't done flipping, but that's first property that I bought because I know there are so many issues. So I ended up selling it after 2 years.
Okay. Okay.
I still made like 80,000 profit.
That's great. And do you go through any simple calculations to figure out if one property is good, the other one, dismiss it? How do you do that?
Yeah. So I believe in simple strategies, very simple one. So what I do is like just calculate the cash flow. So what's the cash flow? Income, if there is, it's not a vacated, potential income, minus all your expenses, property tax, insurance, any utilities that you're paying for, monthly repairs and maintenance, and property management, any unknowns. So just literally like you put that plus for the income minus for all these expenses equals what's your balance. I want to see that balance in plus, not in zeros or minus.
Okay, that kind of property is very, very hard to get in GTA. You know that.
I know.
That's why.
That's why I said one thing in the beginning. I was like, got lucky. My destiny, maybe God wants me to be in Windsor.
True, true. Windsor and so many other cities away from Toronto's that still till this day they have that positive cash flow,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons all the investors are moving out of Toronto to have that positive cash flow, which is strong, which is good to have it.
And that's very important, right? Like, we don't know, real estate is always a cycle. We don't know when it's gonna, go down or up. As of now, we are enjoying that ride. We are enjoying the ride up. But if something goes wrong, if knock the wood, hopefully that won't happen. But there is like definitely the data proven that it will go down sometime. So when it goes down, if you cannot hold those properties, now you're losing, your property. So that's a tough position to be in. So that's why, like, I think why all these like savvy investors, they talk about cash flow. I think that's the main reason.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. And Aditya, how do you find your properties in terms of searching and find them? Do you have any methodology, strategy?
So in different ways, but many people overlook, especially investors. They feel like off markets are the great deals. I would disagree. Always like 75 to 80% of my properties are on the market. But you got to find the right property. Because number one, the deals will not show up on your lap. You look for them. So what I do is like every day, at least like 5-10 minutes, whenever I get minute, I'll just go on MLS. I'll go see on Kijiji marketplace, every areas. And also like I have contacts with the wholesalers. So everyone have my email address. So all this avenues, I'll just look for, hey, anything came up today. If something that piques my interest, I know I'm looking for that dated condition properties. If I see something, then let me just dig more into it. If it looks interesting, I'm going to go see it. If I like it, I'm going to make an offer. If they're accepting preemptive offers, I'll just throw in a preemptive offer for whatever the numbers make sense to me. When I'm looking to buy an investment, no emotions, zero emotions. All for me is numbers. What is my ARV? What is my current value? How much, where the price would make sense to me, then I'll make an offer at that price. Excellent. If it sticks, it sticks. And out of 10 offers, probably I'll get only one offer. Out of 100 offers, maybe 5 offers.
Good, good. Tell us a little bit about the market in Windsor. First of all, is there any multiplexes there that is profit. Well, all the multiplexes are great deals, but
Mhm.
like if you go to certain area, like I know Montreal's, there are plenty of multiplexes. What is the
Mhm.
situation with Windsor?
So inventory is very low. Multifamilies are like rare one to come up. Once they're on the market, like literally, there is a sixplex on the market. It needs some cosmetic lift, exactly the property that I like, but they had like 16 offers. They're looking at offers literally like while we are talking. They're looking at 6 o'clock. So I don't know if I got it, but we throw an offer. We'll see how it goes. But the inventory is not there, and there is a good amount of competition. Uh, you got to be ready to when there's something come up. You got to be like act very quickly.
Good. What about the city of Windsor? Are they cooperative with extension and converting the single residential to multiplexes or triplex, fourplex? How do you see the permits?
So city is always like any city, it's a slow process.
Yeah.
But city is very like they want people to add more units because of the scarcity. Like there is not enough places for people to live. So that's why like we didn't had this additional unit concept before, but just a year ago they started to allow for any residential property you can have an additional unit, like additional dwelling secondary unit in the basement, or you can even have a like ADU. You guys, I think you guys call laneway homes, tiny home in the back, 2 bedroom or 1 bedroom house in the back that you can rent for extra income. So those are allowed now. I'm actually going through that process right now. I have a couple of clients who did that successfully. That means a good cash flow and also in a good locations. Yes, cities definitely, they want you to do, but again, they're tracking down, trying, if you're trying to do like a non-conforming or anything, you gotta be like a little bit careful. If you're trying to do a rezoning, then it's a tough one. Like for example, if you want to convert a commercial to residential, they need so many things that you need to go through. And they don't give you 100% answer. It's like I literally like went through a process for rezoning from commercial building to a residential. It took me a year and a half to get the rezoning done and site plan approval.
Oh, and what is the rental situation there? Is it very much in demand?
Oh yeah, it's so the COVID kind of increased the vacancy rate a little bit, but before it's like 1-2%. Now it's probably I think 3 or 4%.
What is the economical driving force of Windsor
Very
University?
good question. So in terms of like economy, Windsor is not that strong.
No.
Like in terms of like number of jobs, if you see in the graph, like the higher Windsor will be one of the highest unemployment rate, like probably over 7% or something. But there's multiple factors that I feel like why Windsor is growing. Number one, it's a border city. Literally, like the major city in US is right on the border. Like literally, just like if you're in Mississauga, you got to go to Toronto for work,
Yep.
which is like 20, 30, 40 minutes. Here, the Detroit downtown is literally 5 minutes. So we're on that border, and like Detroit was also like pretty much, dipped in 2008.
That's right.
And then like from 2016, 17, it started to slowly revitalize. There are some big guys who slowly improving the, Detroit. And also like they recently started a new construction of a bridge. Like currently we have a bridge and a tunnel, which is not enough for the city traffic, the flow for the, goods import and export, because Windsor is one of the major border city where a lot of import and export happens. So now they already started where the 401 ends. There is a new bridge construction going on, just like in Niagara. Now we're going to have like a bridge with a walkway that we are expecting to finish in like next 4 or 5 years. That's a huge project that is bringing in good amount of labors. There's a new mega hospital been approved a year ago. They're in the planning process. I believe they're going to break the ground in next year, I believe. So that's this two projects alone is like almost 2 billion, size project. So that, and then, retirees, a lot of retirees, because the weather compared to Toronto, Windsor has a little bit better weather. Like, we are a bit more warmer.
That's right.
And beautiful city in general. It's a small city, it's not that big, it's not that small. So we got all these amenities in the bigger city like Detroit. So you can still live here, enjoy all the bigger city amenities by living in a small city. So an additional thing that I've been seeing recently is like now because of this COVID, a lot of people got an option to work from home. If you're living in Toronto, you have an IT job or some other job that allows you to work from home. Now, if you have like, you qualify for 600,000, what do you get in Toronto? Maybe a condo or maybe hardly a townhome. But here, if you come here, you can get a beautiful, nice detached bungalow for 500, 600,000. So that's another thing that I feel like slowly, consider coming into effect. And foreign investors, that's another thing. I think after the 15% tax implications came on to Vancouver and the Horseshoe area in GTA, pretty much like Windsor still does not have that foreign buyer tax yet. So that's another thing I believe, like some foreign money coming in. So it's slowly coming up.
Excellent. And someone wants to come from Toronto to invest in Windsor. What kind of price range an investor should expect?
I mean, it depends on what strategy they're looking for, because there are different type of investings you can do. You can buy into a student rental, you can buy into a single family, you can buy into a small multifamily, you can buy into a bigger, larger multifamily. But generally, if you're looking at I can put a link in the description. I have a guide where I went through like really detail on the prices every neighborhood has, and multifamily and all those things. But generally, for a property that to make sense in terms of investment, you got to look somewhere between 300 to 450, 500 range.
That's a good price when we compare it to Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm talking about detached homes, not like, what do you call, not like a semi-detached or townhome, so or condos. I'm talking about like nice detached home.
Great. Do you use property management for your properties?
100%.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because that's not my expertise. Like I said, I started with pretty much like a zero knowledge. So I would rather use a professional who have a good knowledge about what they do, rather than trying to figure out all by myself. Thank God, knock the wood. As a realtor, I'm pretty busy here. Like good amount of sales going on, so I don't have time to look after my properties. So I have a property management that takes care of all my units. They does all the leasing. They does all the day-to-day activities. I'll jump on a call out with them every week, just like 15 minutes call, just to see where everything is, any unexpected things and all those things. Other than that, they take care of everything.
That sounds great. It seems you keep buying the property management or keep managing your portfolio, and your wife is spending the money.
Honestly, I would say opposite, because she's actually caring about the money. She's the bookkeeping. She takes care of how things. She's a good wife, like solid wife, who handles all the back end stuff for me.
Excellent. If any of the audience here, they have any question, just type it on the chat. And I'm going to ask Aditya, what is your next step, your vision, where you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, so the biggest thing why I'm working super hard now is like, I don't want to work anymore after like 3 or 4 years from now. I want to just, I enjoy doing content on YouTube. So literally, I want to be in a position where just doing content and keep buying or selling the properties, not doing anything else. The rest, everything, I want to have a good team to take care of. Right now I'm still doing the showings. I'm still doing the, listings and all those things. I want to have a team who can like take care of everything. So to be in that position, I need to create a proper systems and also create a solid, like, enough wealth that can, support me in a dark days. So that's my vision. I'm working towards that.
Excellent.
And travel the world.
Absolutely. And you have the best vehicle to do that, and that's real estate investment.
Yeah.
I know you're an active real estate agent in Windsor. Why don't you just tell us your phone number, just in case any of our audience wants to contact you, or email address?
Yeah, I mean, again, I have all my details in there, like on the website. I just posted a link there.
Okay.
So if they're interested in Windsor market, like you will see all the details in there.
Okay. Anyone wants to contact Aditya later on and you forgot that, you can always contact me and I can always provide that for you. And are you coming sometimes to Toronto to buy anything?
Yeah. I'm always looking for, being a self-employed. One challenge was like, in the beginning to get some mortgages, like when I was like brand new agent, when I quit my job. So I started to look, I like the pre-constructions, once in a while, I want to have like 2-3 years gap, one pre-construction. So maybe if you have some projects for me, I'm happy to come down.
I like the pre-construction, the projects that are finishing in 25, 26.
Yeah,
20.
something like
Those
that.
are
Right
good.
now, my current one is like 23. So I don't want to buy anything that is closing in 23 and 24. Yeah. So that gives me some time, and maybe something for 25, 26, I'm open for.
Excellent. As a closing here, what kind of message do you have for people who are hesitating, people who are just like to get into the market, but they are afraid? What kind of message would you give them?
So number one, I would say, believe in yourself. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. Like if you go on my YouTube channel, just search the oldest videos, you will see. I cannot speak proper English. I at that time, I was not even reading books that much. I just started reading. That was my first book. And like no prior knowledge, nothing. Only thing is I had a desire, a strong desire to give a better life for my family and for myself. That is like solid desire. And that desire came true. Now my mom and dad is in my house right now. They came here just 10 days ago. So, and I've been started to going back every year, 2-3 months. Like I literally came from India like a year ago. If there was no COVID, I would have went back for another 2-3 months now. So those things will come, but you got to put the work in place. So don't let the surrounding people who haven't only just hearing all the news, bad news here and there, to stop you. Go find people who are actually doing, learn from them and do it. No matter how hard it is, the first step is the hardest one. But once you take the first step, the rest will follow.
Excellent. That was a great advice, and I 100% agree with you. Aditya, it was a pleasure to have you over here. We learned a lot from your story, and we wish you all the success and continue doing the good job you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
See you.